Yeah, this is a conversation of an over about Finland history, Finnish history, and from 1917 to 2020, and uh, and then how the Finland as a country is positioned in Europe, and then after in the present days, actually in the whole global theater. And that's what we are discussing, and trying to find some issues to find out more, and then of course we can kind of sculpt some facts and storyline about Finland as itself. So yeah, what if we start?
Okay, sounds good. So let's just introduce ourselves first. We are two Finnish guys. We're father and son. We moved to Canada in 1994. My name is Peter Rasky. I'm a medical student. My actual first name is Matthias, so my dad will probably be calling me that. Peter is my middle name, and this is my dad.
Arto Raski, and I'm Finnish Canadian engineer, but now retired, and engineering is kind of years behind. So, but anyway, now I do all kinds of things, like podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, and I have very wide interests, and one of them is history. So I give it to you, Matthias.
So the general format of this project is it's somewhat unstructured to begin with. The way we're planning to approach this project is that we're starting with this basic overarching question, which my dad introduced. And that question is something like, how did Finland go from the country that it was about 100 years ago in 1917 when it first, let's say, won its independence from Russia, which was becoming the Soviet Union, at the time it was a relatively poor country and, let's say, uncivilized country. It wasn't an empire. It hadn't conquered anybody. It wasn't ruling over anybody. It had been ruled by Russia and Sweden for hundreds of years, and it transitioned through its independence through several wars to eventually become a very rich and peaceful nation and somewhat idolized by the rest of the world. A very having a very high standard of education and healthcare, and a real cultural icon in the world. And the question that we're trying to answer here for ourselves as well as for you is, how did that go? What was that process like? So as we go, we're going to research that question and the underlying questions that we find as we go, and we're going to reveal what we find through conversation.
Yeah, at this point I like to kind of this is not our dear neighbor, Sweden. I am not. This is not the perspective of this conversation, and it's not going to be any kind of a cornerstone for that. But as a starting point, as one of the starting points, I like to shed some light into the fact that our neighbor Sweden is. We are now today. We are somewhat on the same level. We are both very well educated, uh, healthcare super, education super, political system seems to work perfectly, and so not that everything is done. I don't mean that, but like that Sweden and Finland are now, we are pretty much sharing the same platform. And but then, as a notion, Sweden hasn't had a war in hundreds of years, and that has a huge meaning historically, because one and the first thing is that wars are darn expensive.
Mm.
And that's one thing, and of course in all cost, I don't mean dollars only, but of course the first is human life and suffering and infrastructure and everything. So but that is kind of, I like to mention it because I in no way I'm questioning Sweden's position in this world. Of course, I respect that country and everything is fine, and I respect the thing that they have been living without the war like hundreds of years, which is a magnificent thing, and so far and so. But I like to say this because that makes Finland's achievement, if you will, it's not, with the lack of the better word, I use the achievement word, but that makes the Finland's standing and on this very day, like I think it makes it kind of remarkable that how the heck it happened, because as a Finnish person and as a 62-year-old Finnish person, I don't actually know it. I know some elements, of course, and that is exactly what we are trying to use with my son to make a. This is kind of a puzzle. We have some bits and parts already connected, but we have still a pile of puzzle bits which are still there. So, I think that's the perspective, and so. Okay, I give it to you for Matthias.
Yeah, it's interesting you point out this difference between Sweden and Finland. Finland is a very unique position in that respect that we're so much like the other Scandinavian countries, but we have a very different history. So we're going to dig into that a little bit in this project. And another piece that makes Finland so unique is its relation to the other countries that border Russia on its western border. So how and why did it go so differently for Finland as compared to Estonia and what are all these other countries? Latvia and Lithuania and Belarus
Poland,
and Poland.
Every single one. Every
single one was incorporated into the Soviet Union. But
Finland was the only Soviet Union's neighbor who withheld its independence, its own society, and free market economy. And that's an interesting point, and it's a very strong point.
So Finland clearly has this very unique history, both in its relation to the other Scandinavian countries and the countries bordering Russia on the west, and it's come to this situation of quite a lot of prominence, and people in the West tend to view Finland very fondly at this time. I mean, people look to it as this icon of high-tech achievements and educational prowess and wealth and sort of, let's call it a socialist, democratic socialist, not in the communist sense, but socialist in the free market, but with lots of social supports sense of the word socialist. It's viewed very fondly, at least by people on the left, and I think quite a lot of people on the right in the Western democracies these days. And just digging into how that transition happened is going to be really interesting. And then also one other thing that I want to bring light to in this project is people tend to have some amount of a rose-colored view of Finland today, and I think a lot of people aren't very aware of the dark history that Finland has in terms of the Civil War and the ongoing tension throughout the 20th century between the sort of whites and the reds. And that's something that I would like to explore in this project as well.
I like to bring in one kind of element or fact is that when we are talking about Finland as a rich country and Sweden as a rich country and so forth, that we are really meaning that. So like there's two factors what I like to bring out is Human Development Index, which kind of attaches education. Like it's a number that gives you an idea of what level of country we are talking about. It's a statistical number, and it takes education, healthcare, social security, political system like stability, and these factors. And Finland is in the highest ranks, like over 90, as is Sweden. So and so Human Development Index is very high. But also, if we any time we talk about of a nation's richness or how wealth they are. So is MIDI, MIDE, MIDI that's one of those economists invention, but it's a good one because it actually describes the wealth distribution. Like country can be super wealthy, but 90% of the people own everything. Or 10% own everything, and 90% of people don't own anything. And even in there, so the world-class equality in distribution of wealth is around 25, and that's Finland and Sweden are both ranked in there. So and it's so that which is also an achievement, not to be rich, but still the wealth distribution is down the drain. So it's like that's not good because it always forecasts political instability and all kinds of stuff. And so also in this is a bit kind of economistic, or plainly economistic view, but I like to expose these numbers also because not only we are like we are Sweden look-alike, we are also statistically on the same spot.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and I think that pretty well introduces what we're going to try to do here. So we're looking forward to unpacking this as we go and learning what we can as we go. And we hope you're looking forward to listening to what we have to say and that you find some value in what we have to say. Do you have anything to add, Dad?
No, I think I think the next episode we are diving into the history itself. So we start from 1917 and what was the world like as much as we can, and so the surroundings of course, and everything is. Of course, it's not a secret that Finnish history is by far. We have 1,600 kilometers of border with the Big Bear. So then Russia, then afterwards Soviet Union, and that of course that 1,600 kilometers has a huge effect to our well-being and politics and everything. So but we kind of course it was a big day that the Soviet Union went into bankruptcy, 1991. So it's and then everything has developed into a normal way, and so forth and so. But all this we will set light into, and but then that's pretty much where we start in the next episode, and see what it was then, and try to concentrate on that, and then what was, and then of course at some point we throw kind of bits and bytes into air that which the concepts and ideas and more like a concept and things that are still visible, not that much, but were still visible in 60s, 70s, 80s. And that's one interesting point also. But anyway, in next episode we will start from 1917 and the factors what was life then, political life, citizens' life, and so far and so forth.
All right, great. I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm excited.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
But I like the more now when we got started, I really like this subject line, and I really like to get started with this, and this has all the way this will have a brainstorming component in there, so that we have no manuscript of any kind, and will not have any manuscript. So
yeah, that's the whole that's the piece of this that I like so much, is that we're not coming at this as anything like experts on the subject. We're just we're interested in this maybe largely because we're Finnish ourselves. We're not doing a podcast about Romania because we're not Romanians, we're Finns, and we think this is really interesting, and I think there's a lot to learn about Finland and the way it's placed so uniquely in history, and I can't think of a better person to be doing it with than you, Dad.
Okay, and I can't think of any other person than you, my son Matthias.
All right, let's do it.
Okay. Yeah, and see you in the next episode.
All right.